Alright, and we are back with Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. We're heading off to Chapter 4 in China.
The road trip gave me the time I needed to study up on the Panda King. Born penniless, he was fascinated by the fireworks rich noblemen set off every New Year's. He spent a decade learning the art. But when he tried to offer his fireworks to the noblemen, they couldn't see past his shabby clothes and chased him away. Humiliated, the Panda King took revenge on those who shunned him by using the very tools of his art for crime. The Fiendish Five recruited him as their demolitions expert, and from then on, his explosive touch became feared worldwide. He's rumored to be perfecting some new firework technique high in the unstable Kunlun Mountains of western China.
Alright, so we're now dealing with the Panda King with fireworks and flame powers. Kind of interesting. Also, this was a number of years before Kung Fu Panda, so it was kind of ahead of its time in that regard. I do find it interesting that the Sly series interprets China pretty much exclusively as, like, snowy mountains, you know, like, Himalayas type environment. Obviously not the Himalayas themselves, but rather than, like, you know, a more temperate climate, it's always a snowy mountain, and I don't know, I kind of feel as though that gives its interpretation of China a bit more uniqueness compared to other games, like, you know, Sonic Unleashed. That's a very nice representation of China, but having it be on a snowy mountain here, I think, allows Sly to stand out a little bit.
Would you look at that? A fireworks show! Oh my gosh, that's awful! That poor village just got buried in freezing snow!
The rocket came from that giant statue, and you can bet the Panda King lit the fuse. I've got to find my way up there and fast before that lunatic squashes another town.
So, we just witnessed the death of dozens of people, possibly hundreds. That's probably the most heinous thing we have seen out of anyone in this game so far. Like, yeah, Mugshot took what was probably a normal town and drove everybody out. Raleigh was taking down ships, yes, but, you know, Ms. Ruby was threatening to do bad things. I'm not sure how many, like, bad things she's already done, but right there, we just saw, like, this is something he apparently does on the regular, so there does seem to be an escalation right before the end of the game in just how bad the villains we're facing are, which can make it a little bit difficult to buy them trying to bring the Panda King back and like redeeming him in a way in Sly 3, where it's like, it's okay, are we sure? I mean, killing villages, people by the village is a little more than just, I don't know, it's something you kind of have to ignore, and for those who can't, I do get it. So I think that there is a way to, like, cheat your way past this little section here. Those fireworks up in the top left there, I believe that you can just barely jump up and hit them and cause the fireworks to zoom around, open up the way, and take out all these guards. So it's so that would be a speedrunning tactic, but I decided to... I'm not sure if I ever pulled it off. I don't think so, but even if I could, I wouldn't have done it here. I want to show off the normal way of doing it. So these fireworks are yet another Spyro connection. You know, you hit them, they trace a wild and wacky path through the air and then explode on something. And so it's just another thing I noticed when I was playing Spyro for the first time. I was like, oh, this is reminding me of Sly 1. Camera in this little cutscene here is a little weird. It's like Sly's on stilts.
There's one over there, but it's heavily guarded.
One key coming up.
I mean, this key is even more accessible than most of the keys we've seen. It's not even like in a jewel case or anything. Ah, and there's our invisibility move, which in later games, it's in all the later games, or at least in 2 and 3. I don't remember about 4. But it's usually an optional ability that requires some like special meter, rather than being a basic ability that is required to like progress, like it was in this game. I guess when they were drafting actual stealth mechanics in 2, they were like, well, if we just have it be give him invisibility as part of his regular move set, then that makes the stealth just a little bit too easy. I mean, invisibility is the ultimate stealth technique. So they just made it like a late game optional unlock. At least that's what I'm betting happened. And we have our final bottle here. It's kind of easy to miss some in this sort of big open area, at least by Sly 1 standards. Alright, let's go head back and get that vault.
Press the circle to enter the vault code. I got a real headache figuring this one out. Input 578.
I could have sworn that there was a code from earlier in the game that was 579.
This just gets better and better. I'd always heard that one of your southern ancestors, Huckleberry Cooper, developed a technique to move while staying invisible. Hold down the circle button to turn invisible, then move around with the left analog stick.
So even though you can't move around very fast using this ability, I always make sure to get it as soon as I get here because it is surprisingly useful. And I think I'll be showing that off a little bit later this this part. But yeah, I would definitely say that I really like this area, even if it's doesn't have quite the pure platforming concentration as Raleigh's section, but I always associate this with the relief of having finished Ms. Ruby's level. So, and it as Ms. Ruby was a bit of a stopper for me when I was a kid. Took a while to get past her to. When I finally got to the Panda King, it was like, oh wow, this is incredible. I'm reaching a new area of the game.
Obstructed by this reinforced ceiling hatch.
No problem. They seem to have plenty of firepower around here. I'll just have to find a few more treasure keys to get at it.
You know that feeling in when you were a kid, when you had this game and there was this part you could never get past, and when you finally did, it was like really amazing. Like, oh wow, we're getting to the next part of the game, and you sometimes had to ask your like older sibling or something to beat it for you, and I remember that distinctly with I'll listen to Bentley for a second. Yeah, I remember that quite distinctly with the Harry Potter and the I guess, Philosopher's Stone game on the PS1. Because I could, for the longest time, I could not get past the flying lesson tutorial. Yes, that early in the game. I just, whenever I want to play that game, I would just start a new game, start from the beginning, get to there, get stuck, and then just start over again. So the first time I, like, exited the castle and was able to do the, like, I think it was the herbology lesson to learn Incendio, it was like, this is incredible. I can't believe that I'm actually getting to the next part of the game. Oh, so, it's spring now, which means that Lagoon is open, but only on weekends, and I only go on Saturdays, and, it's been a couple of weeks since I've had a really good day at the park. There's always some kind of problem. Either Primordial is on a delay that they probably don't tell us about, or it's super crowded like it was this past week. The dance competitions have started, and it was nice weather, which meant that everybody was there, and the traffic getting in was horrible, and probably not going to have a really good day at the park until summer starts and I can go in the evenings on weekdays. Oh yeah, and Colossus is down for maintenance because the whatever company that they are working with to do some work on it didn't do things right earlier in the year when they were closed, so now they got to do it while they're open, so Colossus is going to be down for like a month. So that's great. One less thing to do. Particularly something that usually comes in clutch with a short wait when everything else is really long, because Colossus can chew through people like nobody's business. It's like one of the only... is it the only coaster? Well, it's not the only coaster, but among the really big coasters, it's the only one that has a long train and can handle a lot of people. Whereas, like, Wicked and Colossus, or, no, Cannibal have 8 and 12-person cars, single-car trains. You're just gonna skip past climbing up again. You don't need to see that. So here's a part that's easy to blitz right past and miss something. Jump down right here. And 2 more bottles. So yeah, that's an easy one to miss right there. I do like this level. The martial art, the like East Asian martial arts dojo aesthetic, I quite like. So this is feeling pretty cool. And once again, you know, getting more Spyro connections. Spyro has had levels in like East Asian high mountains and that one China-esque level in Spyro 3, I think, that had the, I mean, you know, there was a fireworks factory in that one. So again, I really feel like a lot of Spyro was being played in the Sucker Punch offices when this game was in development, because there's a lot of comparisons that you could draw between this and the original Spyro trilogy. Love doing the dive attack in midair from high up. It looks pretty cool. The dive attack has probably the most utility out of any of the extra abilities, just because it does have a bit more reach than the regular attack. So right there, you know, it occasionally comes in handy. For some reason, this section right here always sticks out in my mind. I don't know. I think it's fun having these areas where the laser's just sort of randomly moving around and you have to improvise to find a good spot. It feels really cool and not quite as rote as some of the other platforming sections.
Otherwise, this code would have been unsolvable. Input 932. of Cooper's technique to briefly defy gravity. From now on, you should be able to pop right out of those bottomless pits you keep falling into, and you won't even lose a lucky charm.
So basically, bottomless pits no longer cause damage. You just pop out of them. So this is water safety, but for bottomless pits, which is pretty cool. I'll give him that. This is a nice ability, and it feels appropriately like end game. Like we're starting to reach the really high end stuff that is starting to break some of the game's rules. So, if I remember correctly... Oh. I'll give Panda King this chapter credit because they give a very good reason for the guards to basically try and kill Sly on sight.
Murray's all fired up to make the run for the key. While on the blasting station, use the left analog stick to aim and the square button to fire.
Right on. I'll keep him covered.
Alright, here's our run back on the Murray turret level.
Let's go, Sly.
But as I was saying, I think that, if I remember right, I think all of the levels in this chapter that are after the 3-key lock are non-standard platforming levels. So again, we got a little bit more than I would like of this sort of mini-game stuff. I remember this turret level gave me a lot of trouble as a kid. There are some things that come out of nowhere. It does require a little memorization, or at least it helps, and just built up experience over the years. Like, I can anticipate most of the obstacles just because I've had to do it so many times and I remember them all, or at least most of them. Because, like, right here, guy's gonna come out. Yep. This is another one where the whole lucky charm system can bite you, because like right here I have 2 mistakes, and if I use them up because this is my first time playing the game and I don't know what's coming, then on subsequent tries I only have the 1 try, and it feels like I had all the extra tries when I really didn't need them, and now I don't have them when I really do. This one right here gave me a lot of trouble with the 2 coming at him at the same time. Murray would get hit a lot right there. So one thing I didn't get as a kid is why it took him so long to just run up that ramp when on earlier parts it looked like he would have been able to. The perspective that we have here doesn't really show it, but he really did take more or less the most direct route up. And this final section also gave me a lot of trouble, but just keep your eyes open and a wide field of view and you'll be able to spot them pretty easily with their thick cell shading outlines. I definitely liked it whenever I completed a level in this section, because it basically meant that I didn't have to do that kind of level again. Because the next chapter is structured very differently from all the ones up to now. So a lot of these types of minigame levels we won't be seeing again. Alright, now we get to really try out the invisibility move. You know, now that I think about it, this is clearly the big, use invisibility.
Looks like a good place to try out your new invisibility move. Hold down the circle button to draw drop out of sight. While invisible, nothing can see you. Not lasers, not searchlights, not guards. Oh, and if the guards already see you, then the invisibility trick won't work on them.
And I'm gracious enough to display that rule for you right there. That was just a mistake. But yeah, I think it is good that Bentley chimes up with the clarification on the spotlights and lasers and stuff. But I was about to say that this level is quite clearly the use the new ability you got level, and I wonder if I could go back to Mugshot and Ms. Ruby's worlds and try and figure out the level that was like, okay, now this is the one where we're really going to emphasize the ability you just got, you know, one that uses a lot of spire jumps in Mesa City, and one that uses a lot of rail grinding in Haiti. And there might be one, but the fact that right there Bentley chimed up and really put emphasis on the invisibility makes me think that it's probably not that cut and dry, and it's just because invisibility is such a sort of a game changer ability. It's a lot more prominent than just, oh, well, now you can do other sort of platformy stuff. Oh, right up here. I always remember this as a kind of awkward part of the level, and I'm not sure. I've probably done this without problems before, but this is one area where being able to walk really helps. Yeah, right there. I didn't do it right, but I'm not sure if you can, if Sly's slow walking there while invisible is faster or slower than the conveyor belts movement, but it's pretty close, so you lose a lot less ground if you can move rather than having to constantly come back up. And I think right there I just got a little greedy. Made a dash for the guard a little too late and got hit. Right here gives you a little preview of the treasure key, which I definitely missed that the first time I played the game. I wish I had. It's like, oh, there it is. So now you have your goal in mind as you're like, okay, it's in this pagoda, but I gotta go over to this one. So then as you're climbing up it, you know, gotta jump over the other one and then climb down. These blue fireworks here are kind of hard to see. I think I missed them as a kid a bunch of times. Funny, I was as a kid I watched I really liked Shaolin Showdown on Kids WB, and completely unrelated to this playthrough, I watched a video that sort of recapped all 3 seasons of the show, and it was kind of nice being like, oh wow, I actually caught quite a bit of it. There wasn't a whole lot of Shaolin Showdown that I missed, so that was a pretty cool show, although I didn't have cable, so I didn't have Nickelodeon. I'm sure that it was, let's be honest, Shaolin Showdown was like a poor man's Avatar, if only I had Avatar as a kid. But in high school I had friends that showed it to me, and I was like, wow, this is, wow. You know, I've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, the full series 3 times, and every time it has been in a massive marathon. The first 2 times I watched it twice we watched it over the course of just 2 days. So all of Book 1 and half of Book 2 on day 1, and then the rest of Book 2 and all of Book 3 on day 2. That is a little bit much. Even though that first time I had to leave partway through day 1 and had to catch up a little bit, but the the third time we did 1 book a day, and that was a lot more manageable and a lot more enjoyable.
It was a challenge, but this vault's combination has got to be 667.
Oh, can't have it be 666. That's demon numbers right there. Even though I think in some readings it actually, the number of the beast actually is 667. So
You found the blueprints for the Panda King's lair. I'll upload the data straight into your binocucom.
and I believe that there is like 1 or 2 levels. I think it's just 1 level in which there even are any bottles left. So maybe if you missed some vaults earlier, that you could get this ability and go back and get those. But if you've been getting all of the vaults up to this point, there is very little use for this ability anymore. Although,
Why, this pagoda is some kind of huge gunpowder production plant. Judging by the scale, the Panda King must be making tons of explosives.
they never follow up on that. They never like, oh, he's using all this explosives for this. We can assume that he's making them for, you know, to bury villages that don't pay him, but, you know, he was already doing that. So the idea that he's creating a whole bunch and stockpiling it never gets paid off. But I was about to say that I believe that I actually did have some trouble finding some of the bottles in in the Flaming Temple of Flame that were behind a ledge, and I think that the blueprint actually did help me there. But anyway, that will do it for this part. I will see you all next time.